Welcome back to another episode of Modular Wild. I am Raul. Today we're going to be going a little bit further with the Megawave and take a look at bank number 10. If you've been following along in the series, we've been going through each one of the banks within the Miniwave ROM on the Megawave. The last one had a little bit to do with sine waves. It actually had a progression of a sine wave going from a sine wave to a rounded saw. This one is also having to do with sine waves, but it's a little bit different. It has some very interesting visual results, which we'll see here in a little bit. But just to read you a little bit of the description from the Miniwave manual, which there's a little link in the video description, in case you want to follow along. It starts with a sine wave at 80% amplitude, and then adds the next 15 harmonics at a 20% amplitude. It's going to add a harmonic tone while still maintaining a strong fundamental. It has some pretty interesting uses. When you sweep the wavetable, you can add a subharmony, or it's sort of like a filtering type effect to any tonal line. So we're first going to get a look at it, and then we're going to get a listen to it. I thought we would do this in audio rate, since the Megawave can be used in audio rate or low frequencies, but thought it'd be a little more useful with a tonal line in the audio rate. So that's what we're going to be doing. So let's go ahead and jump right in and get this going. If you can look over here at the Megawave, I already have my output plugged in over here. The black segment of this cable right here is going to be going to the oscilloscope off to the left. And then the blue one is going to be going over to our mixer, which if you look, let's see over here by the noise ring right there, that's going to be the output from the Megawave right there. And then immediately below that is where I'm going to plug in the bass saw wave that we're going to be using coming out from the oscillator 2. So if you've been following along in the series, you know that the Megawave, in order to sort of get going or to be triggering, it needs to have a saw wave from somewhere, like either a low frequency source or an audio rate source. So that's what we're going to be doing. Let's get this patched and then take a look. So I'm going to start with the saw wave from here, and I'm just going to patch it right over into the input right there, and we should see some activity, and we're actually hearing a little bit of activity as well. So it's just kind of a drone. And let me kind of bring it all the way down to patch 0 within that bank, and you can see right there kind of a nice rounded sine wave. And let me just kind of move through it. So I'm going to move up. You can kind of see it's changed over there at the oscilloscope. I want to move up. It's number 2. There it is. Number 3 now. Oops. Number 3. Number 4. You can see it's starting to get a little more jagged there. Number 5. There it's getting extremely more jagged. Number 6. Still progressing. So let's go number 7. It's starting to get really crazy looking. Let's go to 8. Number 9. Number 10. 11. 12. 13. And 14. Right there. 15. That should be the top of the bank. Okay, so now let me go ahead and slide it down. Now if you look over at the Megawave, I'm at number 15, and then you just keep your eye on the oscilloscope, and I'm going to drag it all the way down to 0. Okay, so look at the oscilloscope, and here we go. So there we are at 0. You can see right there on the Megawave. Now I'm going to go up to 15 just so you can see that again. So on 0 at the Megawave. Now over at the oscilloscope, you watch going up to 15. So now you can kind of see what's actually happening. It's a pretty cool visual effect, but it's also a pretty cool sonic effect as well. And I just kind of like doing that because of the way it sounds. So pretty neat. At any rate, let's go ahead and make this a little more interesting. We're going to first take our bass saw wave from the oscillator 2 over here, And I'm going to patch it into our mixer down here. Hopefully you can see this. If not, don't worry about it too much because you should be able to hear it. So now we have a saw and what's coming out of the Megawave mixing together. This is just for our own sort of sonic pleasure, so to speak. And then I'm just going to move through the two. Okay, now let's do a little bit of sort of modulation to this. First, let's get some kind of changes happening over here where I don't have to sit there and manually change this. So we could do a couple of things here. We could use a low frequency oscillator from here. What I was using a little while ago was I have the emulator right here next to it, and I just have it in cycle mode right now. So if I just take this out, I can just patch it into the wave in, and it should let me move through some of the different sounds there. And if you look over at the oscilloscope, you can see it changing. I can adjust my rate over here to where it can go much, much slower if I want. So I could do something like that if I wanted to, like just kind of use it as a background or droning kind of ambience. Adjust the rate a little bit, make it go a little faster. But let's try it with a tonal line. So if we go up to our sequencer, we can get some pitches from here via our CV out. Let's patch it into our quantizer and get some kind of tonal line from this. And then I'm going to need a slightly longer cable, so I don't think the one in my hand is going to work. So patch the CV out from here. And this quantizer is going to take it into, let's see, what do I have it set to? I have it set to minor and chord mode, so it should do just arpeggios. So we'll see how that sounds and then go from there. So I'm taking this out and then going right into the 1 volt per octave of the oscillator 2. Let me bring this into a lower octave. So this is just one example of what we could do.